it turns backwards. So I got to get a WJ box.
This was like the last tube I bent it too far, and I didn't want to waste the tubes. I looks janky, but just don't look at it.
Spots, take plates and weld the cage to the body to strengthen the, it'll act together hopefully. Somebody was, I don't know. Welcome back. So I want to do a little video today over the progress we made on the red Jeep here. The new race Jeep. It ain't gonna be, hopefully it won't be red too much longer. I got a few more little things to tie up, and we're about to tear it completely back apart and paint it a color. I'm gonna leave the color. I'm gonna leave a guess on it, what color the body and the cage is gonna be. What colors they're gonna be, color, whatever. We'll let y'all keep them wondering on that one. I ain't giving that away yet. Well, last time y'all seen it, didn't have a cage in it. It didn't have seat. It didn't, I think it had a cross member. It didn't have steering. So, I guess, where are we gonna start? Let's start in the front and work our way to the back. Let's do that. So, up here, nothing's really changed, as you can see. Well, I've got the steering bar made here and the brakes mounted. All right, I know there's gonna be questions on this because I don't have a booster. Let's start off with this. So, I didn't run a booster for the simple fact, unless you got a fight around. Makes it just a little cleaner in here, look nicer looking. Yes, manual brakes are harder to push, but I went through this whole thing on my cab truck because I didn't run a booster on it either. But so I've done two things to combat running no booster. So if you look at a bunch of race cars, a bunch of stuff like that, they don't run boosters, they run a manual brake. And if you notice, they're easy to push. When it comes to manual brakes, you need to, which this part I don't really understand yet, and I haven't really figured it out. Not that I ain't spent the time to figure it out or learn about it that much, but it's, you need to match your master cylinder to your calipers. So you gotta look at the volume, the bores and stuff of your calipers versus the bore and stroke of your master cylinder, and get all that. Okay. I don't know much about that, and I ain't looked into it much. But what I have done, so if you look under here, I lengthened the brake pedal. I didn't do no math on it. I lengthened it to where it felt comfortable me pushing it. And I also, if you look right there, I moved the hole up. So now we're adding leverage to the brake pedal, and so now we'll have to push the pedal further, but now we've gained leverage on it, per se. And hopefully that'll help the brakes. Might have to do a little tweaking on it when I get it right, when I get it done to get it how I like it or right, but we're gonna start there. Also, don't know if it's gonna help or hurt, but I only run 3 calipers. I don't know why, I've always, well, the story on it, the quick story on it is, I never run this caliper, the driver front. And the reason I didn't run the driver front is because whenever I was running stock axles before RCV stuff, I always broke this axle. I don't know why, if I favor this side, but I would pop this short side like candy. And I got tired of pulling the brake caliper off. Because if you don't have a brake caliper on it, you can, theoretically, if you want to, you can pull the 3 bolts out with wheel and pull wheel, axle, and all out of the way. But then you literally take the lug nuts off, you ain't gonna move caliper, nothing. Have another one set up with a wheel bearing already on it, and back on you go. So, arm getting hard. So, that's why I did that. So, but on this one, I am running this caliper. I'm not running the passenger side because I just want it to look cleaner and that's less brake line I gotta run. Now I can just literally just drop out of here and drop down to this tire. I can drop down and tuck it and run back and hit my, somebody's out there reaming on something right now. But I can run right there to the back. So that's the brakes. I think they're gonna turn out pretty good. Steering box, I don't know. Y'all seen that? But anyway, this, so I remember I told y'all it was a WJ box. This is actually a JK box. Well, I learned, and y'all keep this in mind. If you do this, get a WJ box. They mount the same, but a JK box, the pitman arm comes forward on a JK. So now it turns backwards. So I got to get a WJ box. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I got the WJ knuckle. I'm gonna try to run it over here because I'm not gonna run this brake, and I'm gonna run my steering here and my so I can run my main bar here for my, you know, my tie rod, and then my drag link there. And then I got the cage. You can see this was like the last tube I bent it too far, and I didn't want to waste the tubes. Looks janky, but just don't look at it. I'm gonna go back in. I'm still gonna patch these up, welded that, but that's pretty much it on the front. There ain't a whole lot here. Got the axle under it. So then we get the brakes done. Steering, boom, boom. I think it turned out pretty nice. I had some blah 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 designed up, but now we got adjustability. It's just a little pillar block I built out of a Heim. Let me see if you can see. It's a Heim that I welded 22 plates. I made a little pillar block there, and you just tighten up them 2 bolts and move it up and down. I'm gonna come in here and tie my cross member into this bar, tie this bar, do a window bar on it. To be honest, I just hate, like, I gotta be in the right mood to notch and cope, tube and stuff. It's just, but anyways, so I gotta get that done before I can paint it. Seat, we got the seat mounted. It's just there, 2 bolts in the bottom, and I made a little brace here. Bingo. I'm going to tie, so seat, then the seat belts go here. Cage is tied, well, you know, you got your main hoop tied to your plates. There's a bar that runs from that plate to that plate. I'm going to put some plates in here where I can weld. I'm going to make a little plate some sort right here where I can weld this to here. I'm probably going to go like up here, weld the cage. I'm just going to kind of in spots take plates and weld the cage to the body to strengthen it'll act together, hopefully. So we got that did. Rear end. Well, let's go radiator. Let's go radiator. We got the radiator. It's just a piece of angle. Holds it up. It's mounted there. I'm gonna run. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna run rubber hose or if I'm gonna hard pipe it and just run rubber hose right here on the back and right there on the front. I haven't fully decided on that yet. Got the battery mounted right here. It's just tied to the cross member, tied to that. There's a plate on the bottom so it can't pull through. Bolt it down. You got to make sure to put your electrical and your fuel side by side. In case something goes bad, it goes bad quick. So I'm running, this is a 5-gallon fuel cell. I haven't decided how, I think this fuel cell's in here. I haven't decided how I'm going to do my fuel pump yet. Because I don't want to, if you do an external pump, then we got to do a regulator. And I don't want to have to do all that, really. That's just more I got to plumb outside. So I think I'm gonna, and if I do it, I'll get some video of it and show y'all. I think I'm gonna take this lid out of here, out of this tank, and throw the tank away. And then I'm gonna take it and make an XJ pump and regulator and everything mount on the bottom of this. So pretty much take this out and it'll move right over there, and you'll have a pretty much an XJ sending unit in a 5-gallon fuel cell. I just thought that up yesterday, so I think that's the plan. I think it'll work out pretty good. Transmission cooler. Let me know what y'all. How'd that get in there? Let me know what y'all think on this. I wish I'd have put this up here. 1 second, please. Wish I'd have put this up here before I started filming. I gotta finish welding the bolts out, but mounts right there. I can bring 90 a line. Go over here and we hit this bar. You know, maybe 90 and then 45. Jump, hit the bar, drop down, come forward, get together with the fuel line, drop off transmission, go to the engine. I'm trying to make it simple and look good. So that's pretty much it up front. Somebody was I don't know. Then you got my favorite part. Maybe not other people's favorite part, I don't know. But you have the back of the cage here. I think it turned out pretty slick. But I mean, I'm biased towards it. I did calculate these wrong. So I had to make you can see my bottom mount's a little higher. But it ain't the end of the world. So, but them are just 1000 XP razor shocks. The stroke arm's like 10 inches and something. But I'm gonna have to respring them, obviously. And if you look right up there, I've got 16-inch rad flows. They were on my cab truck. These are a 2.5-inch coilover, so they run a 3-inch spring. Them are 2.5-inch. They run a 3-inch spring. So yes, them are 16-inch springs. 16-inch springs, but theoretically, I mean, they'll work if need be. So I can make them springs work if I want. It'll actually. I was trying to do math in my head. I got sidetracked in my head. I was thinking because a 10-inch spring, okay, if you got a 200 pound, 10-inch, let's say a 100 pound, 10-inch spring, it takes, for every inch, it takes 100 pounds. Second inch would be 200, 300, 400. So a 16-inch spring, if it's 100 pounds, if you move it 10 inches, it's going to be the same. So, yeah, it ain't gonna matter. Sorry, my brain went whoop. But yeah. I got you can see the 4-link bracket. Them top two are tied in there. I've done the truss there. I still gotta weld all this out. I got a lot of welding. Some of the cages welded out, some of it ain't. Done that. Done the bar around the front. Tie that in. I drilled and tapped the housing there and took metal pipe and put on there, so it's welded to the bolts and everything. They're drilled and tapped. Then this plate's tied into our truss, our 4-link brackets. The them are just shot back. Another slick thing that these. So these are here on my other Jeep. It folded up and wanted to do all kind of weird stuff. If you look under, see that bolt's in there, but there's no leaf spring. There's a piece of pipe in there that's bolted to there. So this plate is welded to that square tubing and bolted through arguably one of the strongest points on the XJ, I think. I mean, look how tough the leaf springs are. And then I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do, whoop this down and make a plate, and I'm gonna weld this to the body. So then I came up here, you know my 4-link bar is tied to, I ran it to my factory front leaf spring mount. Well, if you look, I cut down that
this spacer here, and it's a piece of solid-ish stock, and then I welded that bar down to it, and this bar right here is solid stock. Well, y'all went black, I can't see. That bar right there, the one welded down to it, it's solid stock, and it goes, it's hard to see, but this tube here slides over and it's welded to it. It's tied in here, so it would strengthen up this. So pretty much what I'm trying to say, I had to make a spacer for my heim to fit where my leaf spring went. So I made that spacer and welded that bar to it. So now my cage is tied to that. My cage is tied here. So that's real stout. Then this plate is bolted down. And if you look under here, there's a piece of angle on this side. Piece of angle on this side welded to the frame, and there's a piece of angle on the inside welded to the frame. Tied to that plate. And then my 4-link bracket here is tied in here. I tied it in here. That's just tacked where I had to hold it up. And then it's tied in. I don't know if you can see it over there. From it down to the side. So it turned out, I don't think it'll move. And then it's also tied, didn't think about it, from there up to the cross member, which that's thin wall tubing, but everything together I think it'll work. And then the radiator bars are tied up to the cage too. Next thing, I think this is gonna turn out pretty slick, but I ain't 100% for sure. I just set this under here 2 nights ago. Let me get under here with y'all. It's on buckets right now because all the jacks took up. We're working on that D-Max. But you can see it's gonna be full skid plate. Now I'm gonna have to take it and cut. I gotta get a dry shaft in it after I get this mounted up and cut it where, you know, you shape it out. So the dry shaft front and rear will have plenty of travel. But mounting it, I did not want to have to get under it and try to get under it and try to deal with bolts, and the heads are messed up from rocks and mud and blah, 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 blah. I didn't want to deal with that. So I think I got an idea that's gonna work out pretty good. So I took some like it's 7/8 inch solid stock. You can see right there. And I drilled all the way through it and tapped it 7/16 by 13. And I tapped it as long as the threads on the bolt. So theoretically, and I'm gonna weld them straight to the skid plate. And then I drilled holes. You can see where that bolt goes through right there. Right there. There's 4 of them on that side. There's gonna be 4 on this side. Now I'm gonna take an 1/8 inch plate and make a washer to spread the load out so it can't pull that bolt through. I'm gonna weld. I'm gonna get it up there, center it up, weld them bungs to the skid plate. So theoretically, right at 1 inch before it touches the Jeep, you better start the bolt and suck it up to the Jeep. So you ain't trying to fight with it and get it lined up perfect. You can kind of, it'll let it hover, and it'll have room in the bolt still kind of wiggle. And then I was kind of nervous because them bolts are so long that it's gonna shove it forward and back. So I think, I ain't for sure on this part yet. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm either gonna come from here and make a kicker from like here down to here that bolts in somehow to kind of give it that forward back. And I might do it there and here. I'm gonna do it off of, maybe off of this, kick it, you know, somewhere in here to kind of help with the shear load, since the bolts since they have so much leverage on them. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on it. There's no telling how many hours I got in this thing. More than I probably care to admit if I really looked her up, but I think it's coming out pretty good. Though we're gonna do up there, you can see. I wish I had it down, I'd pull it out, but we're doing an aux beam switch panel on it. I don't know if y'all seen them, but it's pretty slick. I'm gonna cut the harness down to bare minimum. I'm talking about
I'm gonna shorten the wires, everything. That way we can mount the computer where we want. We can run the wiring we want. It ain't gonna have to be bundled up and jumbled up and look like crap. It's gonna be the bare minimum. I don't know what fan setup I'm gonna run yet, but it's gonna be electric fans on the back here. I've done this so if you kind of look in from the front up there, the fan's gonna be back here. The tubing's gonna come up here and it's gonna kind of run down the edge of the frame between the skid plate. That way you can't see it. Just try to make it look tidy and neat and everything's out of the way, but I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. The only thing that I'm not doing that I wish I could do, and hey, if y'all know how to do this, let me know and I'll do it. Or let me know where one is. But for this body style XJ, I think they did from the 2000 or the 99 up or whatever, but I don't think they made a metal hatch for the square XJ. If they did, I would gut it completely out, just literally skin, and set it up here and weld it out. And I think it would look pretty slick. Ooh, sorry about that. But that's like the hood over here. So I was trying to show you. I gutted all the core out of it, and it's just gonna be pretty much a skin pop on and pin type deal. And I'm still debating because I know how much my white Jeep did bend, which this one has a lot more bracing in it than my white one did. I'm thinking about gutting the back doors, not fully gutting them, but getting everything out of them with still leaving a little structure in them and weld them shut. But I ain't for sure yet. Because I mean, like right here, you kind of do got to work in this area just a little bit. That side you'd be all right. And if you had to get the radiator out and the door was well shut, you could always go up and carry it straight out the back. So, drive shaft loop. Since there ain't a whole lot, which I'm gonna do panels here, and there, but I've done a drive shaft loop, bolts in and out, in case you got to work on it. But just in case this drive shaft does come apart right here, it something to kind of keep it away from me, direct away from me. I'll do something the same on the front one, just so it can't get in my leg. But pretty much yeah. We're gonna do some closing in on these holes. All the relay boxes and all that will probably be right here on the back of this. Up here is the bare simplest things, bare necessities. If it don't need to be here, it ain't gonna be here. But yeah, I think she's turning out pretty decent. So I know I've probably rambled a little bit, and I hope you stayed around this long, but I know some people are curious about it and stuff. It's in the background and all that all the time. Nothing really ever gets said, so I figured we'd do a race Jeep update number 2. And we'll see how it goes. But chucking along pretty good. I'm hoping here in the next week or 2 we can tear it back down and paint it out, and then we're gonna clean up all these edges and then get it ready for paint it out, and then finish, because I don't want to do none of the wiring or plumbing or any of that until after I paint it. I know I'll probably scratch it, but we can touch it up and it'll be all right. But I want to tear it completely back down, clean it up, paint the whole thing, and then we can final assemble and get to testing. But appreciate y'all for watching. If this is your first time here because you've seen this, I appreciate y'all. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like it, and June 21st, Dispute on the Rocks round 1 at Northwest Mountain Alabama Ride Park, or something, however they say it. We'll be there to race, and hopefully all the work I've put in it and hours and all that, and all the dreams and stuff I conjured up in my head, hopefully it all works out. You can see I got my guard dog here. Just making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I guess. But appreciate y'all for watching, and hope y'all have a wonderful day.